guys. Let me share my screen and we'll kick off. We have a few more people coming in, but let's get the show on the road. Got some great presentations there. So with that, let me bring it up and bring it into view. Everybody see my screen okay there?
Yep.
Great, thanks. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today for another great presentation here at TEN Capital, where we help startups investors connect for funding. Give a short presentation, and then we'll kick off with our presentations. Each company gets 10 minutes to pitch, 10 minutes of Q&A, and then we can have some additional feedback time along the way. With that, for those who don't know TEN Capital, let me share with you more about what we do here. We help startups investors connect for funding, and we help companies get their presentations ready. We coach on fundraising strategy, evaluations, presentation, and overall just how to make the presentation more engaging to the investor. In short, we provide the legwork saving you time and money. We also help form capital for the early stage ecosystem. We do work with high net worth individuals to help them start family offices. We help VC funds find funding from limited partners, primarily high net worth and family offices. And then we help angel groups find members. So that's how they form capital to invest in startups. So in short, we're looking to build more capital for the early stage ecosystem. You can see some of the groups we worked with below. We've helped over 25 different angel groups find members. We run family office programs in Austin, Dallas, New Mexico, Southern California, and the Bay Area. And we do 4 online events a month and 2 in-person events a month, and continuing to expand that out. But here's a sampling of some of the people that we've worked with in the past. Here's a picture of the TEN Capital team. We continue to grow and expand. We now have an office in the Middle East. We now have a presence there through Mustafa Shat in Egypt that is helped us build a list of over 250 VC investors in the Middle East. We've talked to each of them and to get their investment thesis and to explain what TEN Capital is. We've done 2 online events in the region already and are planning our third one here next month. It's been a great ride and it's a great new source of capital for the group. We've also worked with the European countries as we found there was a lot of crossover with the Middle East and have discovered a substantial source of non-dilutive funding that we're sharing with our companies as well. Finally, we have a Substack newsletter called TEN Capital. It's focused on how to use AI to diligence and prepare your deal for fundraising. Take a picture of that QR code. You should be able to subscribe to it at no cost. There is a paid version for additional prompts if you want to get into it. But we use AI extensively here and found it has been a great way to accelerate the fundraise campaign preparation process. With that, let's go ahead and have our first presenter come up. We have Paul Geminet of Angiex. Paul, if you want to launch your slides and kick off when ready. Each company has 10 minutes to pitch, and then we'll have 10 minutes of Q&A from the audience. So with that, Paul, go ahead and kick off when ready.
All right, thank you all. So I have a very exciting company, very exciting drug to tell you about. Angiex has an antibody-drug conjugate therapy that's in phase 1 clinical trials. On the right, you can see what our drug looks like. The antibody searches out tumor cells and tumors wherever they may be in the body and delivers that conjugated drug payload into those cells to kill them. And we attack 2 parts of tumors, the blood vessels and the tumor cells. And the pathway that we exploit is active in every tumor cell that's capable of invasion and metastasis, and in every blood vessel which is trying to expand the tumor blood supply. And those 2 processes are active only in tumors in adults. So we have very good tumor selectivity. And we have the potential to eliminate the causes of cancer mortality because virtually all cancer deaths are either due to tumor growth enabled by blood vessel growth or invasion and metastasis. And so this slide illustrates the consequences of our attack upon tumor blood vessels. So we can eliminate the blood vessels, not only the small vessels of the tumor, but the large vessels that feed and drain the tumor. And that triggers a mass necrosis among tumor cells deprived of nutrients and oxygen. And in addition, because our target enables invasion and metastasis in across all solid cancers, there's a significant population of tumor cells which is vulnerable to our drug. And that's actually the most malignant tumor cell population within these patients. So we can get direct tumor cell killing across virtually all solid cancers. And then we have a third mechanism of action, which is active at low doses. If we just mildly injure the tumor blood vessels, then we direct the immune system to the tumors. So the tumor looks like a wounded organ. And anytime you have a wound, the immune system goes there, looks for foreign things like germs and tries to kill them. And that, in combination with immune checkpoint inhibitors, leads to great potency against the cancer. And so we've already dosed our first combination patients, and you can see here that we're getting very good results in combination with Keytruda, the best-selling immune checkpoint inhibitor. This is a patient in which the expected response rate to Keytruda alone is 0%. And it's a low mutational burden, low PD-L1 cancer in a cancer gallbladder carcinoma that doesn't respond well. And on the first two doses, we're seeing every tumor lose metabolic activity and shrink in size. In addition, as a monotherapy, we can substantially reduce tumor cell activity. So on the left here, you see CT scans. The lesion stays the same size on CT scans. That's something we've seen universally. That's because our attack on the tumor vasculature leads to coagulation that replaces the tumor with a scar. But when we look on FDG PET imaging to look for metabolic activity, we see a significant reduction of metabolic activity. And so here you're seeing the glucose uptake of the tumor go down dramatically over the course of, here's baseline, this is after one dose, this is after three doses. And then at higher doses, we think this was in a favorably located cancer in the lungs. But at higher doses, it looks like we work against every tumor in every patient, or almost every patient. And you can see all of these patients were dosed either once or twice. And these scans go out as much as 6 months. In this case, 164 days. In this case, 168 days. And you can see none of the lesions are growing. So we think we converted them to scars. And, so scar stays the same size, but with no live tumor cells or a minimal number of live tumor cells, the tumors don't grow. So we think we have great potential. So we're still working through exactly finding the right dose that will have the best mix of safety and the right way to assess efficacy and understand how many tumor cells have survived. But by the end of the year, we should have that information, and we should be demonstrating an ability to have a transformative impact on cancer patients. So this is our timeline to approval. This year, we're working out how to dose, how to assess response. Then we'll go into phase 2 expansions and then a pivotal trial for registration and then BLA approval in about 3 years. As we progress through these clinical pathways, we can expect big valuation increases. So we're currently raising an evaluation below 100 million. After clinical proof of concept, which we should have within a year, every ADC company has been valued north of $1 billion. And after approval, every ADC company has been valued north of $10 billion. So potential 100x in 3 years, 10x in 1 year. And our team is truly outstanding. And in the interest of time, I'll just get into our ask. We have an open convertible note, $10 million authorized amount, 20% discount, 10% interest rate, $100 million cap. There's been $90 million raised in the life of the company, so that's similar to a seed stage valuation. And we've raised $2 million so far into the note, and we're eager to complete it, and that will enable us to get very close to this proof of concept. And in conclusion, this is a picture of my mother. She was diagnosed with cancer at age 22 when she was pregnant with me. She died at age 33 when I was 10. And I keep her picture next to my monitor to remind me to work hard for all the cancer patients who need us. And but I also need help. I need investors to help us have money to spend, and I hope you'll join us and help us save a lot of lives. Thank you.
Great presentation, Paul. For those in the audience, if you want to ask a question, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll ask the first one. What's your strategy with programs like Keytruda? How do you plan to work with them, and who else is in that category like Keytruda?
Yeah, so right now we're purchasing Keytruda and Yervoy, which is ipilimumab, and using that purchased drug ourselves, and that way we own all of the IP. So typically, if you partner with the pharma companies, they'll supply the drug for free, but they gain a share of the IP in exchange. And we think the IP is very valuable in this case, so we'd rather purchase the drug. Um, and our drug should combine well with any immuno-oncology agent. So we're starting with the best-selling immuno-oncology drugs. Keytruda is the best-selling one, and Yervoy is the best-selling CTLA-4 antibody, which is a alternative approach. Um, uh, we could work well with any immuno-oncology approach, and we're open to partnering with other firms. But I think the huge market opportunities. So the checkpoint inhibitors, they sell $50 billion a year. They work in less than 15% of patients. Based on preclinical data, we may be able to increase the response rate to 70 to 80%. So huge market potential for the combinations, and we'd like to own the IP.
Great.
Can I ask a question?
Go
How do I
ahead.
raise my hand? A
That
couple
works.
questions.
Go ahead.
Did I hear you correct that you have raised $90 million to date?
That's right. We're a 10-year-old company.
Uh-huh.
Antibody drug conjugate's a fairly expensive modality. We've been 2 years in the clinic. We also had a manufacturing hiccup during the Operation Warp Speed era, and the FDA made us throw out a batch and do another one. So, things happen, but actually, the amount we've spent is not large for an antibody drug conjugate company. So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not arguing that point with you. How are you delivering the drug to the patient?
Yeah, it's an IV infused drug. So it goes to a vein in the arm, infused over 30 minutes, and at the desirable dose levels, it's able to search through the whole body. So an exposure of 3 to 7 days. So that's long enough to find all of the tumor cells and all of the tumors.
And how long does the IV transfer take?
30 minutes.
And you have to do that in a hospital outpatient setting, I presume.
Yeah, so some of our sites are major cancer centers like MD Anderson, Washington University of St. Louis. Some of them are outpatient, phase one clinics. I mean, they're all outpatient. It's all, people come for a few hours, they get some blood draws, and the infusion. But uh, yeah, some of them are quite small. They're, like a normal doctor's office.
And if I'm looking at this correctly, you finished a phase one clinical trial on this, or there's cancer? How do you do that now?
No, so this is kind of an indication. We completed the first pass through our dose escalation, so we covered all of the relevant doses. We had 4 severe adverse events, but they neatly separated by dose. So all of these green dots were patients who didn't have any severe adverse events.
Hmm.
So we reframed how the patients were dosed. We introduced stratification based on blood pressure because we had lower dose toxicities in patients with high blood pressure. And so, we'll try to prove that at approximately these blue lines, we can dose with no severe adverse events and still get efficacy. And the other thing we found, as I mentioned, is we had stable disease, but we believe we turned the tumors into a scar. So here's an example of what we did. This is one of those high dose patients. This was the tumor at baseline, and this is what it looked like after 2 doses. Another tumor at baseline. Here's what it looked like after 2 doses. So the lesions stayed the same size, but we think we killed off the tumor cells. But we found that CT wasn't a good way to demonstrate that. So we introduced FDG PET imaging, and we've introduced circulating tumor DNA assessments. And, so we're doing a second pass through the key doses to uh, get a good read on efficacy to demonstrate that the changes we made for safety will eliminate severe adverse events. And once we've sorted out all of that dosing, then we'll be able to, start the phase 2 expansions.
I've got two follow-up questions. Have you explored aerosol delivery of the drug for certain cancer tumors?
Um, so that's not necessary for solid tumors. There are some other diseases where we might use other payloads where, so this is a lung tumor, and
Hmm.
our drug penetrates into the air sacs quite well.
Hmm.
So we can reach tumor cells that are in the alveoli. Um, and so aerosol delivery, it would be useful for something where you want to reach cells that are in the mucus layer of the respiratory tract, but you don't want systemic distribution for one reason or another. And there may be such diseases. So, example might be cystic fibrosis. But for cancer, I think we want systemic delivery because the key thing is to get rid of all the invasive and metastatic tumor cells.
And who are your logical future pharmaceutical company partners in this?
Well, just about any of them with a strong oncology, marketing ability, global marketing and sales capability would be interested. But it's not absolutely necessary to partner. There are commercialization CROs who can help you partner in the US and, market in the US and Europe and retain a larger share of the revenue. And then you can partner with local partners, like say a Japanese pharma in Japan, a Chinese pharma in China, and so on. So, we'll have to work out the right path to commercialization. We're not committed any one particular way. And I think we'll be a hot target. So every ADC company with a successful drug has been acquired, with the exception of Daiichi Sankyo, who has outlicensed theirs. 5 different drugs for more than $1 billion upfront payments in every case. So, there will be a lot of suitors.
Are you capable of doing multiple licensing with multiple pharmaceutical companies?
Uh, not generally. You can't generally license one drug except by jurisdiction. So, like it's common to license to a Chinese partner in China, but you can't generally split it up by indications. You can't generally have overlap, 2 firms marketing in the same drug in the US. Uh, so it's generally it's divvied up by jurisdiction or it's not separated. It's licensed globally.
Cool. Thank you. Great presentation.
Yeah, great questions there, Mark. For those with their cameras still on, we have a few minutes left. If you would like to ask a question, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll call you. There's a react button there you can put on the screen to get your hand up. For those with the camera off, you're welcome to post questions in the chat box, and after they finish presenting, they can answer the questions through the chat box as well. Any other questions from the room? Camille, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Paul, for the presentation. And I love the story behind it as well. I'm curious in terms of runway, how much will the 10 million, how many months will that provide? And also, how much additional capital do you expect to need after this round? And what does that kind of look like with partnering, acquisition, and different milestones?
Yeah. All right. So this is what the 10 million buys. It'll take us through the end of the year. We'll complete this stratified second dose escalation that's with separate dosing of the non-hypertensives and the hypertensives. So we'll figure out the optimal way to dose each of them, identify a phase 2 dose, and we'll have an assessment of safety and efficacy at those doses. So that's a data package that a lot of investors are waiting for. So once we have that data, we expect to be able to raise at a significant uptick in valuation. So we're kind of pursuing a just-in-time fundraising strategy. We're raising the 10 million to get this data, and then we'll raise the next round above it at what we expect to be an uptick. So, so we're not building up a lot of extra runway at this point, but we think the drug is attractive enough. We don't expect to be unable to raise.
Great. We're at the end of our time. Thanks so much, Paul, for a great presentation and great questions there from the investors also. With that, let's move to our next presenter. We have Eric of Hemocath. Eric, if you can launch your slides and kick off when ready.
Thank you, Hal. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eric Caron, CEO and co-founder of Hemocath. Our company is uniquely positioned at the convergence of medtech, digital health, and vertical AI. At Hemocath, we are commercializing the hemodynamics AI platform. Our core mission is to transform acute heart failure management from a reactive, crisis-driven response into a proactive, predictive care that sets a new global standard of cardiac care. Today, we are raising a $4.5 million seed round to secure FDA clearance and conduct preclinical studies with key opinion leaders at Yale School of Medicine. To understand why this opportunity is so massive, we must look at the sheer scale of this crisis. Heart failure remains the leading cause of death and the single largest healthcare cost in both the US and EU. When a patient suffers from acute decompensated heart failure, or ADHF, the heart abruptly fails to pump blood effectively, rapidly flooding the body with lungs with fluid. In the US alone, there are 700,000 ADHF hospital admissions every year, representing a $600 million obtainable market within a $2 billion US addressable market. To manage these critical patients, clinicians rely on pulmonary artery catheters, or PACs, as the standard of care to directly measure hemodynamic data and assess heart function. However, clinicians have currently no other options but to use legacy PACs built on a 50-year-old technology. There are large rigid catheters that must be inserted directly through a major vein in the neck. This carries a 3% risk of serious clinical complications and locks patients to hospital beds and causes significant pain. Technically, these legacy PACs are fluid-filled lumens directly connected to external sensors. Those systems are notoriously unstable, requiring constant manual adjustments and frequently generating unreliable data. And additionally, studies show that clinicians make data interpretation errors up to 40% of the time. That leads directly to misdiagnosis, wrong treatment decisions, and prolonged costly hospital stays. Hemocath solves every single one of these complications by pairing our advanced Hemocath pulmonary artery catheter with the hemodynamics AI platform to offer solutions that is safer for patients, easier for clinicians, and AI-driven for accuracy. So safer for patients by pairing a large catheter inserted in the neck with a by replacing a large catheter inserted by the neck with a flexible small catheter inserted safely in the arm, just like a standard IV catheter. This drastically reduces clinical complications while restoring patients' mobility and comfort. Easier for clinicians by replacing large external sensors with integrated micro-optical sensors. This probably medical device captures high-fidelity hemodynamic data and simplifies bedside setup. And AI-driven for accuracy, our hemodynamics AI analyzes high-fidelity waveforms from the HemoCat catheter to detect early hemodynamic deterioration well before clinicians can spot it visually. Ultimately, this vertical AI platform will provide real-time decision support to optimize medication dose adjustments and safely accelerate hospital discharge. So here's the bottom line. AI is only as reliable as its training data. HemoCat provides the high-fidelity data required to train healthcare AI. The unreliable data from legacy catheters cannot be trusted to build predictive models, period. We are disrupting an established $2 billion US market. HemoCat creates a highly defensible competitive positions through a high-margin dual revenue business models. First, 30% of our model is traditional medtech hardware. Our single-use HemoCat PA catheter is priced $550 per unit with a 60% gross margin. Second, 60% of our model is a SaaS revenue stream. The hemodynamics AI software delivers a scalable recurring revenue by charging $150 per patient per day for real-time clinical decision support. HemoCat is significantly de-risked. R&D for our HemoCat catheter is completed. Our technology is protected by 8 issued patents fully owned by a company. Large animal trials confirm continuous high-fidelity pressure recording in the pulmonary artery with 0 vessel lesions on necroscopy. Safety and effectiveness have been confirmed by these large animal trials. On the regulatory side, our path to market is exceptionally de-risked. The FDA confirmed in our pre-submission meeting that the HemoCat PA catheter qualifies for the 510(k) clearance process without human clinical trials. This significantly reduces regulatory costs and accelerates our time to initial revenue. Our leadership team brings over 120 years of collective experience across cardiology, engineering, commercialization, and corporate finance. As a CEO and co-founder, my background as a high-tech engineer and medtech entrepreneur combines novel development and commercialization with venture fundraising. Our Chief Technical Officer and co-founder, Des Regan, is a veteran medtech engineer, formerly with Medtronic and Nordson Medical. He holds 23 patents and 4 successful exits. Our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Chris Glover, is a practicing interventional cardiologist, professor of medicine, and director of the Cardiac Catheterization Lab at Ottawa Heart Institute. And our Chief Financial Officer, Robert Orr, brings 15 years of medtech CEO leadership alongside 20 years of merger and acquisition experience at PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, and Deloitte. To ensure accelerated clinical adoptions and market traction, we have established a strategic collaboration with world-class key opinion leaders at Yale School of Medicine. Dr. Paul Hertz, Director of Applied Hemodynamics, and Dr. Indy Singh, Director of the Pulmonary Vascular Program, are actively engaged as investigators in our upcoming studies. When we assess the competitive landscape, HemoCat occupies a vacant high-value market position. Non-invasive wearables lack the fidelity required for acute hospital care, so they have no place in acute failure management. Indirect methods like physical exam, lab tests, and medical imaging provides delayed data with poor accuracy. Permanent cardiac implants carry high upfront costs and long-term complications. And outdated legacy packs provide direct data, yes, but they come with high infection risks, complex neck insertion, and a 40% interpretation error rate. HemoCat is the first to market measuring and monitoring continuous direct high-fidelity hemodynamic data integrated with AI predictive decision support. Our execution path is structured around capital efficiency and clear valuation inflection points. This $4.5 million seed round funds our FDA 510(k) submission in our large animal trials with Yale. Following FDA clearance in 2028, our $9 million Series A funds a strategic target commercial release across 10 to 15 key U.S. hospital centers. And finally, our $20 million Series B in 2030 funds a 200 patients post-market clinical study and supports the commercial launch of our hemodynamics AI platform. We're executing a two-phase commercial rollout. Phase one, immediately following FDA clearance, we execute a targeted release across a few top hospitals to build clinical evidence, proving fewer complications and earlier hospital discharge based on solid clinical data. In phase two, we leverage this clinical data to secure broad payer coverage and optimize hospital reimbursement. By aligning hospital economic incentives with better patient outcomes, we cleared the path for full commercial expansion. Our sales will start in 2028 following FDA clearance. HemoCat market adoptions will be accelerated by clinical evidence of early hospital discharge and AI monitoring of heart failure patients. HemoCat will achieve these near-term financial milestones and turn into a profitable company according to our projections based on a modest 3% market share in the US market in 2030. In 2024, BD acquires Edwards Legacy PA catheters business for $4.2 billion. The official press release revealed that Edwards, holding 50% market share, sold in 2023 for more than $900 million of those 50-year-old legacy PA catheters. This is a robust market proof validating both our market size and our multi-hundred million dollar exit potential. Three forces are currently converging to create a unique market window for HemoCat. First, surging demand for PA catheters for ICU and heart failure monitoring. Second, AI maturity. Now FDA is open for AI-enabled devices. And finally, top medtech players urgently need AI-driven innovations to protect their market share. Recent acquisitions confirm that they consistently acquire proven innovations to accelerate time to market, rather than relying on internal slow R&D cycles. So by backing HemoCat today, you are funding the next standard of care in acute heart failure. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Great presentation, Eric. Let's go through the investors. Cortland, did you have a question?
Certainly. Eric, can you explain why you're going through a 510(k) instead of an MDSAP?
Time to market, time to revenue, period. So again, positive meeting with the FDA. So if we take another path, it's going to add the delay, cost, uncertainty. So now we use the Swan-Ganz pulmonary artery catheter as the predicate device. And we use exactly the same indication of use. And the only difference is the sensors we use, the integrated optical sensors, and the insertion point. So instead of being inserted in the jugular, it's in the brachial axis.
Why not go ahead and move into sales now in Latin and Africa and some of the Middle East countries that do not require a 510(k)?
So in developing countries, so like in Europe and Canada, for example, in this case, it's a high-risk device. So only in US you have this notion of predicate device that allows us to be a class 2 in US, and this is where our target market is. So going into a developing countries, then yes, we'll be collecting data, but then if we go back after that to the FDA, then we'll have to disclose the data, explain all what we did, and the effectiveness and the safety and effectiveness of the device based on patients. And again, that will add additional cost and delay. So it just makes sense to go directly to the US prior to do any first in human. Or yeah.
We probably need to talk afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. With that, let's go to Seabright. Seabright Chen, do you have a question?
I'm good for that. I'll take a pass on this.
All right. Ataya, how about you? Did you have a question?
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. Do you have some numbers like about your burn rate? Like how much do you have left, or like how? Tell me more about that.
Numbers about what? Excuse me again?
Your burn rate. How much do you burn?
Oh, we're burning right now. Let's say right now we're doing mostly R&D and fundraising, obviously. So we're burning roughly 40,000 per month. It's quite low, but yes, I'm the only one right now full time, to be honest. And we work with partners, like for the catheter, for example, that is a manufacturer in Ireland through our partner over there. And same thing for our sensors as well. We work through different partners to make that possible. For sensors, partners are based on the West Coast in the US. And the software, we do it mostly internally. So yeah, we do a lot internally. I'm an engineer myself, so I'm a hands-on engineer, so I get things happening.
Thank you.
Great. And David Volcano, did you have a question?
I do not. Sorry, unmuted. I do not. Thank you very much.
Okay, great.
I have a couple of
And
questions.
go ahead, Mark. What's your question?
When you met with the FDA, did they volunteer to sponsor your clinical trials, or sponsor your 510(k) filing, or what did could you explain to me, or do you have expedited approval with the FDA? How is that working? It just seemed to me that it's taken a long time to get that approval process when I looked at your timeline.
So there's it's a standard 510(k) process where and no, they don't sponsor the during our pre-submission meeting, we show them we're very well prepared. We show them the data we're planning to present them for our 510(k) submission, and the process we're going to go through to collect the data, and that includes a large animal trial that will likely involve 25 specimens, in which you show biocompatibility, safety, and effectiveness, and compare it with a predicate device. And that will be it. So that's the reason why, with only $4.5 million, we can get regulatory approval and get initial data for initial sales. And there's nothing magic behind that. And the good for us as well, as you can guess from my accent, I'm from the French, I'm a French-speaking Canadian. So for us as well, Dr. Glover is based in Ottawa Institute, and this Ottawa is where obviously Canada Health Center is, and Health Canada, and we expect to get the clearance as well to do a first in human in Canada. So that will allow us to go into a renowned hospital center in North America, in the Canada in this case, and collect data that would be to show to other clinicians, to show cardiologists the effectiveness of our device.
There's two things I'm trying to understand. One is your go-to-market strategy, and two is the motivation for pharmaceutical companies to partner with you to work with you to help you go to market.
Okay. Pharmaceutical. Okay, so you see an incentive for pharmaceutical company to work with us?
I'm just trying to understand what the value proposition that's going to get you get the market incentivized for distribution, or if you're contemplating doing that yourself. That's really what I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so if can I show my slide?
Sure. Maybe I missed it. I'm sorry.
Good. So here's our roadmap here. So here's the process to initially for 510(k), we need to complete validation of our prototypes, and then animal trials, and then submit the data to the FDA. And after clearance, then we go through a post-market first animal trials. We're going to work with roughly 10 to 15 key opinion leaders in key hospitals to collect the data and the initial data we need to then publish peer review articles across experts, across cardiologists, and as well to define what would be our post-market clinical trial. So we have no plan to sell large scale our device the initial 2 years before the human trial, the clinical trial, will be again focused on key opinion leader centers, key hospitals in the US, and then go to this trial. So and this we our objective is to build a demand for our device, not us pushing our device to market, but again to build a demand by such that cardiologists come at us requesting those novel pH editors and use it themselves. So again, the value of the clinical data is the essential step for us, and that will be done at key opinion key centers, key US hospital centers, and that we have with that va. Does it
Go
answer
ahead,
your
Hal.
question?
Eric, if I can.
Go ahead, David. What's your comment there?
Yeah, I was just going to kind of parlay off of Mark's question there, because it didn't really answer Mark's question for me. I don't know if it answered Mark's questions, but great on the science, but we're obviously looking for sales that leads towards an exit. So to constantly fund trials and science studies is one thing, but what is the actual plan to sales? I mean, are you saying that you're just going to publish articles and they're going to come knocking on your door? Or are you going to have channel partners to go out and get the distributions? Are you going to hire the sales and support force yourself? Or are you going to be a channel partner? What does that look like once you do launch, as far as you getting it out there and supporting the clinics as they want to start using this?
Okay, so obviously following FDA clearance, there's an opening right there to be acquired, but there might be a window opening here to be acquired. But the feedback we got from key companies out there, to be honest, it's Johnson and Johnson and Boston Scientific. They're both interested by our Series A round. That will provide them, obviously, allow them to secure obviously a position to be a first acquirer. But before doing
But
acquisition,
that
those
hurts
big
your that
guys, they
hurts your
want us to
valuation
validate. Excuse me?
dramatically.
You're on
You're
mute, Mark.
muted.
You mean
Oh,
Mark?
I'm sorry. That would hurt your valuation dramatically if at a Series A pricing you gave them some sort of acquisition right or on it. I mean, it would
We'll see. It's something we'll decide out together, well, among our team. Yes, it's gonna reduce future valuation, but it does a lot of de-risking as well. So,
Great.
for that Series A round, obviously several VCs will be proud to syndicate in the Series A round with a strategic.
Great. We're at the end of our time. We can set up follow-up calls to dive into this further, and we can talk about value
Thank you so much.
propositions afterwards. But a great presentation and good dialogue to have here as well. With that, let's go to our next presenter.
Thank you.
Thanks, Swarner, for a great presentation there. We have Oliver of QualiSure. Oliver, if you want to kick off your slides when ready.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much. My name is Oliver Bathe. I'm founder and CEO of QualiSure Diagnostics. And QualiSure Diagnostics is a precision oncology company that's based out of Calgary, Canada. And really the impetus for developing this company was a number of major industrial shifts. And one of them is that whole transcriptome sequencing, which is the way that we look at the expression of all of the genes within a tissue, has become much less expensive and has become ubiquitous throughout the world. AI, of course, has made substantial advancements and now can interpret biology. And at the end of it, we need to understand biology better in order to deliver precision oncology. So all of those things have come together to provide us with a really substantial tailwind. So the problem that we have chosen to address really derives from my own experience. I'm a surgical oncologist with more than 25 years of experience. And one of the things that I've seen over and over again is that we give these really toxic treatments to people who are already sick from their cancer. And the fact of the matter is that in many instances, in most instances, as a matter of fact, we're not even sure whether those patients are going to benefit from those treatments. So what we need is diagnostic tests to help to personalize treatment decisions. And the approach that we have chosen is by looking at gene expression. That's RNA-based tests, because that really tells you a lot about the underlying biology of a cancer. It tells you how quickly it's going to grow, whether it's going to spread to other areas of the body, and whether it's going to respond to certain treatments. The final bottleneck that we've encountered in terms of delivering precision oncology is really the deployment piece. What typically happens now is that diagnostic companies build their own lab, and this central lab does all of the testing. And so that's a real problem in terms of disseminating these technologies to other continents, for example. So I spoke to a friend of mine who's a surgical oncologist in Australia, asked him if he ever accesses Oncotype DX, which is a standard diagnostic test for breast cancer. And he would never do that because it requires him to send samples from Australia to the US. And that results in a big turnaround time and substantial costs. So we have tried to address all three of those things in order to enhance the delivery of precision oncology tests. We've begun our work really by focusing on a single cancer type, and then we've developed a platform that's derived from our experience from that, and that's what I'd like to tell you about. So our first test, which is called Thyroid Guide PX, is a diagnostic test that helps to determine the best treatments for people with papillary thyroid cancer, which is the most common type of thyroid cancer. And the issue here is that these cancers are not life-threatening, unlike many cancers, but the treatment continues to be very aggressive and has a very significant impact on patients' quality of life. There are ways to de-escalate the treatment with less impact on patients. And so the trick really is to identify low-risk cancers, and that's what our test does. So Thyroid Guide PX has already received Medicare pricing. We have favorable margins. We've had a guideline citation by the American Thyroid Association. And so this essentially represents the first validated prognostic test for this purpose. We've gone through quite a bit of validation through a number of different organizations. We have a paid pilot at the University of Toronto, a number of grant supported trials in other parts of Canada. MD Anderson's about to start their pilot. NIH is doing a prospective trial, and we have a collaboration with Sloan Kettering and National University of Seoul. So there's a lot of interest by really key opinion leaders. And importantly, we've deployed this in a decentralized fashion through a lab in Orlando, Florida, one in Calgary, Canada, and another lab in Singapore. So how did we actually achieve this decentralized model? We achieved it through our platform, and that platform is called Molecular Decoder. It was really built to solve our own problem, and that is how do we do this kind of testing and this kind of analysis in a scalable fashion. So what this does is it takes the complex data from a next generation sequencer, which is what's used for our tests, and it automatically submits the data to a machine learning algorithm that corresponds to whatever test you happen to be ordering. The testing can be done anywhere in the world, and a test report is delivered back to the lab, wherever it might be, within a couple of minutes. Importantly, this has been built to ensure data sovereignty and good security, and it's, of course, HIPAA compliant and compliant for GDPR. So Molecular Decoder really represents a significant platform, not just for our use, but is a platform an open platform for other diagnostic companies who want to also achieve this decentralized or distributive business model. Importantly, we're also building in the capabilities to analyze the data using what's called a transcriptomic foundation model. And that essentially enables the testing to be done anywhere using any sort of standard operating procedure, kind of like how ChatGPT understands your language, even with the typos that you happen to put in. So we have a lot of validation of this model. We have 3 labs that are working with us and are using molecular decoder. I mentioned a number of academic centers that are working with us. We have technology partners such as the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute, and we have a number of other diagnostic companies that are keen to try to deploy their tests on molecular decoder. Our approach to commercialization is a land and expand and then scale sort of approach. Thyroid Guide PX represents a wedge product that enables us to engage, and it also represents a proof of concept for other companies that want to put their products, their diagnostic products into molecular decoder. And then as time goes on, we'll add new diagnostics, essentially creating a central hub for precision oncology testing. As we gather more and more tests and more data, it becomes a flywheel effect. We're focusing initially on transcriptomics, but there's many other types of data that can be run through molecular decoder, and you can imagine that this is essentially an expanding flywheel. We are just at revenue now, early on, and we expect that our initial revenue growth will be related to Thyroid Guide PX, but we think that as time goes on, the majority of our revenue will actually be attributable to molecular decoder as well as to AI-enabled pharma services. We expect that we'll be able to achieve $58 million of revenue by 2030, and having increased engagement with pharma, I think will enable us to achieve a much greater revenue of more than $100 million over the next 10 years. This is our team. Cynthia is my co-founder, and she's a bioinformatician and machine learning expert. Dave is a cloud computing cybersecurity guy. David Levison is an expert in commercializing diagnostics. And we're raising $7 million. We're just beginning the raise, and for early investors, we're willing to discuss convertible notes at a discount. This will enable us to launch our next test, which is very highly complementary to Thyroid Guide PX. Molecular decoder is already operational, but we'll be selling it much more aggressively as we build out our team. And of course, we'll be engaging with pharma companies. So essentially, what we've done is we've created a test, we've created a platform, and what we expect with this funding is to become an infrastructure for other diagnostic companies and as well as for pharma. So we believe this is the future of transcriptomic medicine. It's going to represent the next generation of precision oncology testing, and we can do this in a distributive fashion, which is quite a unique business model. Thank you very much for your attention. I look forward to any questions.
Great presentation, Oliver. Taya, what questions did you have?
No, I don't have any. Thank you so much. Not yet.
Okay. Corlin, how about you?
Oliver, good to see you again, sir. I don't really have any questions either. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So, Oliver, can you tell us a little bit about more of the go-to-market strategy with the new products there? How is that going to work out, and what are we looking for there?
Yeah, so for Thyroid Guide PX, which is what we've actually have the most traction on, really the approach is to engage with institutions that contain the key opinion leaders. So MD Anderson, University of Toronto, Sloan Kettering, for example, the strategy there is for them to publish data and to publish data that will support reimbursement and will also encourage other clinicians to utilize the product. As Swarna mentioned, surgeons listen to other surgeons, and similarly, oncologists listen to other oncologists. So that's the main strategy there. With Molecular Decoder, our initial customer segment that we're engaging with are other diagnostic companies that are utilizing AI in a way to interpret their precision oncology tests.
Great. Can you talk more about the AI? How exactly is it being applied and what impact is it having on your results so far? How much does it reduce costs or increase productivity?
Yeah, so the main thing is that diagnostic tests have really evolved quite a bit in the last years in terms of they're no longer just measuring one molecule, you're measuring hundreds of molecules at once. And what you're trying to do is identify the patterns of expression of genes or proteins or metabolites or whatever it is that you're measuring. So AI has really facilitated that analysis, and Molecular Decoder has been built to with private key encrypted vaults that each house a different AI algorithm that corresponds to a different test. Creates an opportunity to interpret this data in an automatic fashion. The other major development over the next year will be creating a transcriptomic foundation model. I kind of glanced over what that means. What it means is that the variability in the output of next generation sequencers, all the noise is really cleaned up so that you can interpret the data much more readily and much more reliably. And so that's going to be a major advancement as well in the field.
Aside from improving the performance of your product, is there any data sets or data plays that come out of this process?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So we have over 500,000 data points to utilize for training the model. And we have a relationship with British Columbia Genome Sciences Center. We believe that we'll be able to leverage data from MD Anderson and Sloan Kettering as well. And these are really highly valuable data sets because they're linked to clinical outcomes. And so if we use those to enhance the model, it creates a data moat, with that data moat, of course, you'll attract pharma attention and so on. So that's why I think that as time goes on, we'll really be engaging much more frequently with major pharma.
Can that also be used to generate revenue itself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the pharma contracts themselves are very valuable. And of course, what we sort of expect is that other institutions are going to make their own diagnostic products. And if they train those products on our foundation model, they're basically, in order for them to deploy those kind of tests, they need to use our model. So it'll be essentially a central marketplace eventually for transcriptomic tests.
What do they pay for that kind of data? Is that 100,000 a year, 1 million a year? What do you think that might be?
So typically, pharma initially will, for a small project, would be $50,000, and then when you get to phase two and phase three trials, it's in the 500,000 to $1 million contracts.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of there's a lot of possibilities in terms of helping pharma to develop companion biomarkers.
But that's not just to one pharma, that's to any pharma, so
Any
nobody's
pharma,
exclusive.
exactly. And then every time you have a relationship like that, you of course enhance the data moat for your transcriptomic foundation model, so it just becomes more and more valuable as time goes on.
Okay. My last question is, why isn't that slide one in your deck?
I guess I'll have to think about that. Exactly how to unleash that information all at once.
Oh, well, it is a lot of information. I understand that. Not everything can be on slide one, and there's a lot of good things here that could be, but it seems like it's a great business case that we could pull out and do more with. But if there's no other questions in the audience, I think we covered everybody today. I'd like to stop and take time for a moment and ask each of the investors that participated today who they would like to follow up with. Cortland, who would you like to follow up with?
We'll follow up with all of them. I know several, but yeah,
All
I'll
right.
follow up.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Mark Singleton, did you have anybody you wanted to follow up with? I don't know if he's still there or not. I'll put
Mute.
him down for.
I'm sorry. I thought that Swarna's presentation was outstanding. I thought that Oliver Bates' presentation was outstanding. I mean, both of them really resonated with me, and I just wanted to mention that. And like to learn more. Thank you.
Very good. We'll help with that. Camille Richards, did you have anybody you want to follow up with? She's
I'll
still
follow
with.
up by email. I'll do a little bit more reviewing on my end.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
We had with us also David Volcano. You have
Yes,
any?
hey, Hal.
Yeah,
Yeah, starters, let me connect with Swarna. If you can connect she and I offline, that'd be great. Thanks.
we'll do that. Then we have, I think, one more. Siebert, did you have anybody you wanted to follow up with?
Thank you. I'm good with that.
Okay, great. And Taya, anybody you want to follow up with?
Yeah, I was sworn as well. Thank you so much for a great presentation also. Thank
Very
you.
good. All right, guys. I think that covers everybody that participated today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. It was a great presentation. I'll do the introductions afterwards and looking forward to catching up with you guys next time. With that, thanks so much and have a good rest of your day. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
guys.
So much. Yeah. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.